KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM. I'm Mark Westwood. Good afternoon. Midway through the day here, it is the 3 o'clock hour, just about 3:07. 7 minutes after the hour 3 here in Southern California. Just wheeling our way into the Easter weekend. It is Holy Thursday today. Tomorrow's Good Friday, Holy Saturday, and then Easter. And then, of course, if you're not the Christian persuasion, then it is Easter bunny time and Easter baskets and egg hunting. Although, it's going to be a lot of plastic eggs, I think. Yes. Anyway, I got a little off on what I'm doing here. I lost track of what I'm doing here. I am actually your announcer, Mark Westwood, and I'm going to introduce to you and greetings to Don Williamson on the Don Williamson Tax Saver and More Show. Hello, Don.
Hello there, Mark, and good afternoon to all you radio listeners out there in this wet, wonderful day.
You know why?
And
well, just a minute, we're going to have Jacqui Dobens on, but you know why it's raining, Don?
I hope that you didn't get rattled by them little rumbles we had. And there's hundreds and hundreds every single day that you don't feel.
Yeah. I thought I had one this morning. It was just the cat jumping on the bed.
But because of the earthquakes, can I talk real quick about something?
Sure.
My little.
This is your show.
I'm going to talk again about the disaster calamity form because it includes earthquakes. It includes everything that's a disaster, but more or less. Fires is one of the ones recently from L.A. that we all experienced. They experienced much greater than we did, but we've had ours in the past too, big ones. And but
this is a little shaker, but
it doesn't have to be a regional, a declared thing by the governor or anyone. It can be just a personal disaster where your house caught fire and burned down.
Yeah.
Or in this case, maybe an earthquake that for some reason it was rough under your house and it got damaged.
Yeah, exactly. Just
and
any kind
as
of
long
damage.
as it's over 10,000 in damage, you can get this little. It says damaged property reassessment application. Is really just that, and then it goes on to mention about disaster and. But it doesn't have to be a total job. It could just be we're 10,000 more.
Yeah, if you have a problem, you have insurance, and that's what that's for.
Yeah, and they only temporarily do it while it's damaged or destroyed.
Don't get me started on the Automobile Club and my auto insurance right now because I have a claim going on, and gosh, it's like they don't exist. It's just all AI, artificial intelligence, and press 1 for this, press 2 for that. Then, you get a voicemail of some insurance adjuster that must be on vacation for the next 2 weeks or something because of Easter holiday because they're not calling me back. And it's been more than like 48 hours. I think it's really rotten service. Okay, I'm done.
Well, that reminded me of the days many years back when I had a little S10. And that thing got stolen 6 times, which tells you that we got it back each time.
By the way, yeah, I got my car stolen last weekend. I got it back thanks to the Yucaipa Sheriff's Department and the Victorville Sheriff's Department. They didn't mess around. They got my car back in 5.5 hours.
Well, so you got it back.
I got it back, and then the Victor Valley Tow Company up there ripped me off worse than the auto theft guy. Almost $800, tried to get me for 4 days. I tried to explain to them that the sun just doesn't rotate. I mean, the earth doesn't rotate around the sun 4 times in 2 days. It's not 4 days,
So
it's 2
you
days.
had probably storage fees and towing fees and who knows what else.
Anything they could think of, they charge you. $398 for a tow that was less than 7 miles.
And if it's on a weekend.
And it was on a weekend. It was on a Sunday. They were
got
closed
more
one day.
days.
I looked at her and
Storage.
says, "You're closed. I couldn't pick it up." And she says, "That doesn't matter. It's still being stored." There's no empathy whatsoever. Just ripping people off. I mean, I could see $300, $400, $500. That's still. I told her, I could put my car up at the Ritz-Carlton for cheaper than what you're charging me, and I could get my car a little massage. A pedicure for that.
Now, looking at your car insurance, you might not want to put it on it since that's all it is. But you do have theft insurance.
Yep, and I have $100,000 in damages. I have comprehensive, which is what theft is covered under.
Yes,
and I have a really good insurance policy because I was in Chicago last summer, and I wanted to rent a car, and it was going to be a nice car, and I didn't want to do any damages that I couldn't pay for. So I upped my insurance last summer. So in August, I upped my insurance. So I'm in good shape insurance-wise. I think I just can't get Automobile Club to respond to anything. It's like crickets, press 1, press 2, crickets, press 3, press 4 for the crickets. They don't answer the phone. And Automobile Club has gone to this artificial intelligence kind of thing. They're not hiring people anymore to answer the phones and talk to you. So I literally had to call around and get the comfort of verify. I see online that I have insurance. I see what I have online on insurance. But, I want to talk to a real person that says, Mark, it's going to be okay. And I haven't heard that yet. And it's been since Sunday.
I've always wanted to I'm telling this stupid phone, hey, give me a person. I want to talk to somebody.
I've done that too.
Doesn't do any good.
Yeah, it doesn't do any good. And it's terrible service. The insurance rates haven't dropped any.
Was that AAA?
That was Automobile Club of Southern California, yes,
That's AAA, all right. Well, I don't have their insurance, but I do have their Premier Towing.
I have their roadside service too. I've had it for years and years and years. I've been an auto customer since 2017. Insurance, so it's not been any short amount of money I've paid them either. You think, with all the money they take in from all these people, they could hire real people at least to answer the phone and say, well, we're not going to help you until X number of days or whatever. But I've left 3 voicemail numbers on this lady's adjuster's voicemail. Then they switched me to a Ramos guy, Joseph Ramos, and he's not answering me back either. So, you know what? I'm going to start mentioning names. I better stop because it's just going to get worse. It's going to get worse. And I plan, folks, if you're at the Automobile Club of Southern California, to do a whole show on Good Friday and crucify. Oh, no, I shouldn't say it that way.
I got some good things to say about them and some bad things.
Well, anyway, let's not get distracted with that. We've got a lot to talk about today.
Because their towing program you get for the Premier, that's 200-mile towing.
And my battery service was good, too.
But the one before that I had was 100-mile towing.
And they did replace my battery, no charge. You know what? Let's skip on off of this because Jacqui's on the phone, and we've got to talk to Jacqui. And we don't want to be rude.
Now, is Jacqui the one that's going to be from San Gorgonio High School?
No, she's from San Gorgonio Middle School. How many times did I tell you that?
School. I keep wanting to say high school because I'm familiar more with the high school.
Yeah,
part.
Yes. You live in Highlands, so of course you're going to say San Gorgonio.
This program is dedicated to helping people in all sorts of ways. The old More.
Yeah.
It's tax saver or more, and we get into I like that. So
Jacqui Dobens is an incredible person. I've talked to her, and she's with the Melanin Youth Foundation and a program called Our Brother's Keepers, and it's a mentorship program for young junior high school kids to help them, introduce themselves to spontaneity, development of quick thinking skills, a description of what empathy means, and things like that. They've got different modules. Anyway, without further ado, I would like to introduce an incredible woman and welcome her to the program. Ladies and gentlemen, Jacqui Dobens. Hello, Jacqui.
Hello, Jacqui.
Hello.
And you're getting a little round of applause there. You might not be able to hear that, but you are. Because you certainly...
Kidding. I never miss applause.
Yeah, that's right. You certainly do a lion's share of great work. And Jacqui came to me. She is very enthusiastic, a very hardworking person, and she cares. She has empathy, and that's what's really important because you've identified certain needs that young kids, challenged kids have, and that you can help them cope with things, correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
One of the things that I find that is lacking, I like to equate it to when you're trying to give, in this instance, a dog a pill, you wrap it in cheese, right? Something that they wouldn't necessarily want to do or want to have happen to them.
Yeah.
Well, this is a way for us to get durable skills, everything that you said very aptly, everything from work in a room, how to network, how to introduce yourself, etiquette, how to communicate effectively. These are things that are lacking, especially post-COVID, where we became so isolated. Our students, unfortunately, missed out on a lot of that socialization, so this infuses that back into them. And so we're under the Melanin Youth Foundation with much more than mentorship, and we're living up to our name. And one of the things that happened of how I even got involved in this is I went to San Gorgonio Middle School in Beaumont. I went there to talk to them about my mentorship program. And they looked at my modules, and the assistant principal, Lauren, said, it's as though you were sitting over my shoulder for like the last 6 years, because everything that I had as a module is exactly what they're teaching. And she said, have you ever heard of Ron Clark Academy? I said, no. She said, have you ever heard of the Amazing Shake? Again, I said, no. She said, well, would you come and volunteer as a judge of the networking session? Well, I'm very familiar with networking. I've led networking courses and Lunch, Learn, Connects and things of that nature. So I said, absolutely. I got there, and I wasn't mentally prepared for the frenetic energy of the students barreling in there, I think about 60 or 70 at a time, coming and introducing themselves. And
it's called the Amazing Shake.
It's called the Amazing Shake. It's based in Georgia, and it's been around for a long time.
In Georgia?
Pardon me?
What was the name of the program in Georgia?
It's called the Amazing Shake, S-H-A-K-E.
But there was something Ronco or something like that?
Ron Clark Academy.
Ron
That's
Clark
the actual
Academy.
School. Yes.
Okay.
It's a middle school in Georgia.
Oh, okay.
And it's been around for a long time. They were even interviewed on Oprah back in the day. So I don't know why, but for some reason, well, I do know why. I mean, the climate is definitely right for the things that they're teaching. And so what I've done now, my relationship with Sanji has morphed into now that we are the prep for, because it's an entire competition based in Georgia, and it's national. So we now are prepping the students to be more versed in what they're learning. So, for example, when I attended as a judge, when the work the room where they came and introduced themselves, I felt as though they answered everything on the checklist, how to, what to say, but their personalities were lost because they didn't have that familiarity. And I saw that need, and I said, what could I do? How can I present something to them that will help them feel more comfortable in uncomfortable situations?
How could you wrap it in cheese?
Yeah, literally, yes. So the cheese in this instance is I had a presenter come on board, Nick Neeblis, and he owns the improv school Redlands. And he came out and he did an entire session. Well, he did a portion of a session with them and helping them to be able to speak more extemporaneously so they would feel more comfortable in just kind of, something that's unexpected. So it's just seeing those needs. Even though the teacher's been doing a great job with them, there's certain things they can't see. I mean, they wouldn't necessarily have the time or the inclination with everything they've got going on to even go and seek that out. Well, because I'm in this space and I feel if you see a need, you feel it, that's exactly what I did. So bringing that to them, we recently had the honor of the top 3 that were heading over to Georgia, and that being one of the sessions. And as a result, I'm going to take some of the credit. As a result of the session that we had with them, they broke through the top 100, and one of the gentlemen, he got to 53, just missed it by 3 out of the top 50. So we're getting there. We're breaking ground, so we're very, very excited. It's a total win. We'll take the W.
Yeah, so you have certain modules, and I'm reading them here, like Module 1 is about communication. Module 2 is about improv, which we can talk about in a minute. Module 3 is about empathy, showing empathy. Module 4 is self-development. Module 5 is marketing you. And Module 6 is customer service. And this is things that we can all learn a little bit more. Like give you I'll just read down the list for Module 1. Presentation, or how to introduce yourself. Presentation may be how you dress, probably, or something. How to introduce yourself. Hello, my name's Mark Westwood. I'm the general manager of KCAA and KQLH and KFXM. Nice to meet you. Your elevator pitch, which is kind of what I kind of did just now, both of those together. And then effective communication involving active listening. I always say to people, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth. Talk half the time, listen twice as much, and you will learn a great deal more. And then, model introduction, including a personal elevator pitch, after which students will be guided with the key elements that make for a proper introduction. So you have mentors that help them with this module, correct?
Correct.
And then you go down to Module 2, which is improv, how to speak extemporaneously. Oh, gosh. Extemporaneously. There we go.
Yes.
I did it. I talk for a living. Extemporaneously.
That's a long word.
Yeah. with ease using tips, tools, and antics. Or no, is that right? I don't know. Not antics. There's something that the copy machine didn't catch here. Anyway, launchpad words, yes, and the foundation. So tell me, what is a launchpad word? That's a good question.
For example, let's say that we were doing a round robin session. The launch part word, if you got stuck, would be yes and. That buys you a little bit of time, and it enables you to gather your thoughts so that you can continue in the round robin effectively.
Oh, okay.
Politicians are good about this yes and.
Yes, and radio people are too. And by the way, I like to use that one. Let's explore this, I'll say. And that means I don't know much about what we're talking about, but if we explore it a little bit and you start to explain it more to me, then I will. So that's always a great extemporaneous term.
I like that.
And a tool. Let's explore this more. We're talking about what?
You can even say, speak more about that.
Yeah, speak more, just directly, yeah. And then moving on to Module 3, which I like, is empathy. And you give them a description of what empathy means. So tell us what you describe to the young students what empathy means.
I'm not in charge of that session. What I have is a licensed marriage and family therapist
that
takes care of that, named Wayne. And I equate it to putting yourself in someone else's shoes.
There you go.
I often say to myself, when I see someone that is behaving in a way that I, in my current state, would not, I say to myself, I would like to think that if I were in that same situation, I would behave in a way that honors the highest version of myself.
Yeah. There was a TV program on a while back called What Will You Do? And I used to teach a lot of that. In Module 4, you talk about self-development. Identify interests using strength finder tools. And you're not in charge of these modules, so I won't put you on the spot about them. But
I have a familiarity with each of them. I'm the one that creates the modules, and what I do, which is very unique, is I enable the presenter to interpret it with their own infusion of their experiences, their knowledge, their expertise.
Yeah.
And so what ends up happening by doing that is I let them know this is what I want to make sure that the student walks away with. Your interpretation of that, how you get there, that's all you. And it gives a freedom that a lot of times people are so afraid to give others. But I believe if you're in your lane, let me stay in my lane by letting you be in your lane.
Which is exactly what you're doing right now. It applies to Module 4. You're telling a story, you're describing something, you're putting somebody in a scene or an environment for them to imagine and envision what you're trying to convey. And that's good, You're a student, you've got to figure out how to tell a story, for instance, that will capture people's interest and that will impress upon them possibly, if you're talking about, an event, you're doing a fundraiser, and you talk about, there are a lot of students that come to school every year and they can't afford backpacks. So Santa Claus Lane Incorporated, one of the things they do is they give away backpacks, and we help with that. And so that's a story that we can tell that will help develop a lot of that credibility and things like
Kiwanis
that.
does that too, give backpacks and other arts and crafts and needs that they back down in elementary level.
Right, yeah. So we only have about 5 more minutes left in this section. We'll bring you back afterwards. This has been really good. You really got these modules down. These are great.
I like them.
Yeah, Marketing
Thank
You
you.
is Module 5. It's called Marketing You. The role that education plays in self-promotion. More than a academic education, learning and developing real-world skills. You have people, Dr. Michael Main is mentioned here as a retired professor.
Yes, a math professor, yes.
A math professor. And
So honored to have someone of that caliber on board and that is so passionate. And he said that he used to, with his schedule being so filled and so packed, that he would run everywhere, just running all around. He says, now I walk. And to have someone that is out from under that level of stress and the demands to be able to speak into and impart these types of things into students is incredible. And we're just so blessed to have someone of his caliber. I mean, we're blessed to have all of them, to be completely candid. I mean, it's amazing, this dream team that's been assembled. It's really, sometimes I just go, really? Because many of them, for example, you may see for etiquette, I don't know if that's on the one that you have, but Cornelius, who is how I found you or heard of you, he teaches etiquette, and he taught recently poise under pressure. Mm-hmm. And just because they're pressure cooker situations with these kids, this is a competition. That's what it's wrapped in. So
there's a lot of role playing in it.
Yes, absolutely. There's scenarios. There's a gauntlet. It's called the gauntlet. And you go to various stations, and you never know what you're going to encounter, and you have to remain poised and calm and gather yourself.
One of the things one of the things we do before we send salespeople out that we're training here at the radio station is we role play. Where people come over objections.
That's what this is all about.
Yeah, it's marketing and role play and stuff like that. And the last module, really quickly, because we're going to run out of time this session, is customer service, serving people, building good customer relationships.
Module 6.
Yeah, handling customer complaints, promoting brand image, managing customer exchanges and returns. Etiquette expert Cornelius Bryant. That's the guy. Mm-hmm. He's one of our people here at the radio station. Mm-hmm. And he models courteous ways to interact with the general public. Students will discover how to remain pleasant in unpleasant scenarios. I always have something in my mind when somebody's being unpleasant with me that, just listen. We don't know how their day is. We don't know what happened beforehand. But then, sometimes I take a little bit more than I need to take, and people go, how do you do that? And I say, because in my mind, I say, every time they pay their bill, I win because their money's in my pocket. So no matter how this argument goes, as long as they write the check, I'm going to be okay. Does that make sense?
I like this. When we come back, I want to tell you a true story that happened to me.
Will you come back, Miss Dobin?
Sure. No, I mean when she comes back after the break. Okay. Oh, is she going to leave after?
I know we had arranged for this, but Jacqui, will you come back? Jacqui Dobens is with us
after our break.
After our break.
I can, sure.
Okay, it'll be just about a 2-minute break, but the guy in the control module is like jumping up and down and hopping up and down because we have to play these little things called commercials and stuff like that, and it's hard to tell your boss shut up. That's what he has to do to me. So hey, Don, we got to shut up right now, and we'll come back with an extremely great guest, Jacqui Dobens, right after this on KCA 1050 AM
when to shut up.
and 106.5 FM. Not before I say the call letters. KCA 106.5 FM and 1050 AM, the stations that leave no listener behind.
KCAA.
Community Matters with Lillian Vasquez. The Redlands Bicycle Classic will celebrate its 40th year. The race is the longest continuously running invitational stage race in the country. The Classic began on Memorial Weekend in 1985 and has morphed into a much greater event. The Classic was born from two strangers with two completely different motives at the same time. In 1984, the Olympic Games had just wrapped up in Los Angeles, and Carol Beswick, the new mayor of Redlands, was looking for a way to revitalize her city's downtown. Beswick approached the city manager with the idea, only to learn that Peter Brandt, a cycling enthusiast and physical therapist in town, made an inquiry the previous day about holding a bicycle race downtown with some of his cycling friends. And the rest is history. In downtown Redlands on Saturday and Sunday, there will be local vendors, small businesses, food trucks, restaurants including coffee, donuts, slushies, and desserts, service clubs, information booths, and swag giveaways, local breweries, event merchandise, and interactive kids booth. The Classic began on Tuesday and will end on Sunday. For Community Matters, I'm Lillian Vasquez.
KCAA.
And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're back on a rainy midweek Wednesday. Well, yes, on the Don Williamson Tax Saver and More. Don is now struggling with his headphones. 1 second, ladies and gentlemen.
This thing is needs to turn
All right,
around.
just let me give it to me, Don.
that thing around.
Give it to me, Don, and I'll fix it for you. Here you go. Here you go. Put it on just like that.
Okay. One was going one way and one's going
All
the
right,
opposite way.
Don Williamson, tax saver and more. Don is just struggling with his headphones, but I fixed it for him. That's my job. I do a lot of different jobs, and that's one of them. But right now, ladies and gentlemen, we are speaking with the extraordinary, fabulous Jacqui Dobens from San Bernardino Middle School's program called Our Brother's Keepers. And it's been a really interesting program. We were talking about the different modules and things like that. And Don, Jacqui, welcome back. You're with us still?
Thank you. Yes, I am.
Okay. And Don has something he wanted to share. So,
Well, a true life story. Probably how I got my start a long time ago, by keeping my mouth shut at the right time.
by the way, Don is a former San Bernardino County tax assessor and recorder and all that for 3 terms. So, yeah.
Anyway, but that was a 12-year thing. I was San Bernardino County assessor for 12 years or 3 terms. But prior to that, I got my experience when I became a deputy assessor. And it came down, they had this, let's see, there was 140 people applied for one job and 75 passed the test. And then they had interviews, and I was lucky to get in the interviews. And at the end of that first interview, they said, well, thanks for coming in. You did really well on that interview. You will be hearing from us again, which I went home inflated, saying whoopee. And within a week, they asked me to come back. What I didn't know till several years later, there was only 2 of us that was in the running at that point. Myself, which I was a real estate broker then, and a person that was a appraiser's helper. And the chief wanted me, and the other 2 people on the panel wanted the other guy. So we went through it, and we got to the end of it, and then they said to me, "Thank you, Mr. Williams, for coming in. We'll let you know." And I went, "Oh, okay, thank you." And I shook each other's hands and left. Well, 2 years later, after I'd already been hired, I found out what happened. The other guy who had the job, all he had to do was keep his mouth shut. Instead, when they told him the same thing they did me, "Thanks for coming in, we'll let you know," he didn't thank him and leave. He said, "Well, wait a minute. Do I get the job or don't I?" No, not there. And then he said, "Well, we'll let you know. Thanks for coming in." "No, I got to know because I got a chance to get this other job, and if I don't get this one, I'm going to take that one." So they said, "No, I'm sorry, just we'll let you know. Thank you for coming in." I hadn't even got back to my office, and they were calling to see if I could come in on Monday. So
Sometimes.
But I've been wanting something like this for ages, for high schoolers.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us here on KCA, we're talking with Jacqui Dobens. She's got a program called The Amazing Shake at San Bernardino Middle School that she helps with, and she's one of the mentors. They have modules. They talk to these young kids on different scenarios, and they do role playing, and they basically mentor kids how to get through life and give them life-changing life experience.
Yeah, very important.
When they're like that guy that you were talking about should have gone through the Amazing Shake at the San Bernardino Middle School. Had he done that, he would have never have done that. Because one of the things,
Right?
especially Cornelius would tell you about etiquette is grace. And grace is
Yes.
being grateful for talking with people,
Yes.
thanking them for their time, being respectful, and not trying to pressure anybody, because that's where the guy lost. He lost on that. And you probably, I know you, Don, you're, "Hi, it's nice to meet you. Thank you so much." And you shook their hands and smiled at them. And yeah, you were walking out the door kind of disappointed you didn't get the job like there on the spot, but you were hoping that maybe, something would turn out right for you. And it did.
It did, and for once in my life, and you know me, once in my life I kept my mouth shut.
And so this is where these young kids that go through this program have the advantage. This is such a tremendous thing. They teach reading and writing and arithmetic and all those basics, and they teach them to pass tests and things like that. But sometimes these practical skills don't get taught at home. They don't get taught
That's
anywhere.
right.
And so it leaves these young students to bounce off the walls. And this learning so early, I think, helps them even getting into colleges and things like that. Because, when you're going through, admission procedures and matriculating, you have to You have to have some of these skills to convince them that you're worthy. You know, you can have a 4.6 GPA, but if there are 4 other kids with a 4.6 GPA going for that same scholarship, you're going to have to stand out somehow.
And that's where
Well,
you need to.
one of the students at our last session, Gwen, she said so aptly. She said, "You know, I don't have a problem talking to my to my peers." She said, "I used to have a problem speaking to adults." And that's something that I don't even know if we think about that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if we actually think of, okay, if the majority of their life, they're basically the only adults are their family or their teachers, they really don't have an organic way or a natural way to build that muscle of that skill set of being able to express themselves and communicate effectively. And the Amazing Shake, which we're actually the prep team, I call ourselves, for the Amazing Shake competitions that are held at San Bernardino Middle School, and then several of the other schools as well. And then now it's district-wide being held at Beaumont High School. And one of the things that Principal Chris Horton at San G has said, he said, "You're right. We teach you math," and he goes, "It's not enough."
Mm-hmm.
He said, "We need to make sure that we are ushering into society well-rounded individuals." And that's why they are so passionate about having this. It's just a platform. It's a vehicle of being able to implement these skills into these students. And to have them, to have them show up and be excited and eager, or coming in there initially, their heads down, and then all of a sudden you can see them build up their confidence. And just by giving them the tools and the tactics and the strategies with which to do that, so that they can do better, not just in the competitions, in life, period.
So that's why they call it the Amazing Shake. And now tell us, these students can voluntarily sign up for this, correct? They're not.
Yes.
Yeah. And so,
Yes.
but a lot of students want to do this.
Oh,
Is this a
yes,
class?
and it's gaining traction, which, like I
Extracurricular.
said, it's been around several years. It's really gaining traction in the IE. And our goal is to really have it like the module, the template, and then to go, because I've already been commissioned to bring it to some other schools now that I have such the familiarity with it, and also being able to provide the prep work, because a lot of them, it's really contingent upon solely the teaching staff, which they can take it so far, not knocking any of that, just saying that someone that is really zeroing in and seeing some of the blind spots. So I've already been commissioned as a project manager at a school over in Adelanto to help them out. We're going to call it Amazing Shake Light, because we're just starting out. And I'm like going, let's not try to get all this. Let's not try 800 students. Like, let's work with 300. Let's start with 300.
Well,
so we're in the process of getting that figured out right now.
A couple things, though, that I see that maybe you can add. First of all, nonverbal communication is very, very important.
Yes.
How you conduct yourself, how you move your body, how you look at them in the eye, how you shake their hand, how you take up space, how you respect space. All those things are very, very important, that you're conveying messages with your body every day you don't even realize. You can be
Correct.
hostile, you can be welcoming, how you hold your arms or your hands or whatever. So that might be something in a module that you might want to add into it, nonverbal, as a student.
Do you want to hear?
communications.
Do you want to hear something? You're right on track with that. So I've already interviewed a mime. I'm going to have a mime come in. Yeah,
Okay.
I've already interviewed him. I'm going to have a mime come in and show them how we communicate nonverbally.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to have all the garb and all of that, and not say a word. And he and I are working together right now to see
Interesting.
what does that look like. So, which is a great, it's almost as though I shared that with you prior, the way you teed that up for me. I appreciate that, Mark.
Oh, you're welcome. Stand up
Because,
straight.
again, it was something else that I had seen that in one of our sessions I said, they don't understand it, that they've already communicated before they've said a word. And I said, what could I do with that? How could I incorporate that? And I said, mime. And so I went on one of these gig sites, and I had like 4 or 5 of them reach back to me, and one of them is getting the gig, no pun intended. But yes, I have that. I have that covered.
A smile is nonverbal. So easy.
Yes.
Smile. Be genuine. about how you smile, how you look at people in the eyes. And some of this also, the last part I'll say is untraining them for bad habits, like slouching, like,
Yes.
those sort of things, being right on time, or a little bit before, trying to be, all those things that don't be too aggressive. I run into that with interviewing people all the time. It's like, wow, you are super aggressive, and I kind of appreciate that, but now it's getting irritating. You can calm down now. But yeah, Jacqui, very, very interesting program. We wish you the best. I want to invite you back to explore this a little bit more. Don, do you have something you'd like to add or a question?
Well, there's so much here. I'm not sure if what I'm about to say is in it or not. But when I did my interview that time, I had went in ahead of time and looked the place over and talked to this chief appraiser that got to like me because I did that. And I don't know if they'd let you come in ahead of time now. That was several days before. So that when I got in there, I was able to say something good about their organization.
Mm-hmm.
I knew something about it. And I think that helped me a little bit. Do you go over helping them do a resume?
We don't do that, but what we do is we help them with interviewing, and we also help them with pitching their own ideas. That's part of the scenarios. Now, we will have them, it's called the gauntlet. We will have about, I think, like 22 sections that they will interface with everything from if an order comes back incorrect at a restaurant, they may be the manager or they may be the customer. If someone gets a bad haircut, they may be the person, the hairstylist, or they may be the customer with the bad haircut. How do you handle that? Everything from cornhole tossing, like how are you in competitive situations? Are you a sore loser or are you gracious? So there's all these various scenarios, like someone at a yard sale that's haggling, and maybe they're haggling a little bit too aggressively. How do you handle that? How do you diffuse the situation? So we have quite a few that we hit upon that are common occurrences, I'd say.
This is a great program for middle school. Should be a refresher in high school, should be a refresher in college. And I think there's a lot of adults like myself that need to take something like this too. It's a very interesting program. Hey, coming up, Jacqui, just if you'll indulge me just for a moment, I apologize. Coming up this Wednesday is a career fair. You might be interested in this too, Jacqui, at the Inland Empire 66ers baseball stadium. I'm going to set up a booth there with the radio station. They can see what radio people do, and it's different things that different people do. But they're going to have a game afterwards, and it's Wednesday, this coming Wednesday. It starts at 10 a.m. at the San Manuel Stadium, baseball stadium. So if you have any interest in this, ladies and gentlemen, or Jacqui or anybody else, give me a call at 909-810-6102. That's 909-810-6102. Just wanted to get that in there before the day ended, because I promised my good buddy in marketing over at Inland Empire 66ers that I would talk about that today, Chris Holsconnect. So hello, Chris. And
Hi, Chris.
we did put that in there, and we might even put a little something on the radio about it in the future. Jacqui, it's been such a pleasure talking with you. And we could talk about this a whole nother program, and we still wouldn't cover everything, I think. You're just doing a lion's roll there, and we thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me. Would it be okay if I gave some of my contact information in case someone's interested, if they want to sponsor it, if they want to be considered for a presenter?
Sure, absolutely.
The best telephone number for me is area code 951-239-8132. That's 951-239-8132. And my favorite email is Jacqui Dobens. That's JACQUIDOBENS @gmail.com. That's JACQUIDOBENS @gmail.com. Thank you so much.
Great. Or you can just Google The Amazing Shake or San Gorgonio Middle School in Beaumont. There's lots of different ways you can contact Jacqui. And of course, that number, once again, is 951-239-8132. That's 951-239-8132. Thank you, Jacqui.
Thank you so much for having me, and I'll talk with you soon.
Thanks again. You're doing a great job.
That was
Thank
Jacqui
you.
Dobbins.
I appreciate you.
Thank you. That was Jacqui Dobbins and The Amazing Shake. An incredible thing here. We have just about 10 minutes or so, and something's coming up that we need to talk about.
Well, we can talk about that, but I also wanted to say something about that spring fling we just had out here.
Okay, go ahead, and then we'll follow up with
that
that.
was kind of like the old Route 66 rendezvous, but the big difference was they then had a nice cars would take a parade, do a
cruise
parade,
track,
you could
yeah.
see it, a cruise, and I wish they could incorporate a little of it. They don't have to do a lot. Go out the parking lot, around and back, right back, and the other end, and where people could kind of see the cars moving there. That's when the cars like to drive down the street, and the low riders like to go up and down, and so on. And that's all part of history.
Yeah,
It
last
was
week,
great.
Teamsters 1932 hosted the Teamsters 1932 Spring Fling Car Show and Rally.
Loved it.
It was great. They had classic cars, they had lowriders, they had motorcycles, and they had other Teamsters unions here too. They had great entertainment and music. We did a remote just outside our back door. It was the easiest remote in the world. We set up put up a sound system up there, and tuned the radio station in. Then I walked 20 feet in the building. I would talk on the air and come back out. And people go, "Where'd you go? Why did we hear your voice?" But it was it was a fun deal. They had a couple of In-N-Out burger trucks here. They had a beer garden. They had entertainment. They had Aztec dancers. They had a good band on stage. Good food. Lots of fun. And the whole parking lot over by the probation department and the courthouse was full of vendors. I didn't even get over there because I was so busy doing other stuff. But yeah, it was a pretty good event, and they do it once a year. This was their 6th annual. I'm sure there's probably going to be a 7th annual. The Spring Fling Car Show.
Loved it.
So what's coming up this weekend?
And before we go to that, next year when it's there, I may have my Harley Davidson 90.
Motorcycle?
Which was motorcycle.
Yeah,
which
they
was
had
built-
motorcycles here too.
It
Yeah.
was only built between 1972 and 73 and 74. That's it. Mine's in 74. And I was talking to my son about it.
You still
saying,
ride that?
Huh?
You still ride that, Don?
No, I don't. It's may or may not. It hasn't been started. It's got less than 400 period, 400 miles on it.
Wow.
And never been registered because in those days you could have it off-road and then you didn't need to register it. So it was never registered, but it has less than 400 miles, and I might enter that in it.
Well, you got a whole year to get it started up, get it running, change the oil, crank it over, and get it going.
It's going to need all that, I
It's
think.
going to need all that, and maybe you get on or somebody else rides around a little bit. Only 400 miles. That's almost
Almost new.
it's blasphemy, but okay. It's almost brand new. Well, it has been an incredible week here. It's gone fast, and we're going right into the Easter week, as I mentioned. Today is Holy Thursday for those people who reflect on that. Good Friday, the crucifixion, Holy Saturday, where they buried Christ, and then Easter, where He's resurrected. So we have all kinds of stuff going on here. I wanted to say, if you haven't noticed, the weather, it's raining. Do you know why it's raining?
Why it's raining?
Yes.
Because there's lots of moisture out there, up in the clouds.
I asked you that at the beginning of the show, and you missed it. It, ladies and gentlemen, is the National Orange Show,
Oh, yeah.
which no matter, they've had this show in August, they've had it in May, they had it in April, no matter when.
It rains.
It rains. Assuming the true folklore that they put the Orange Show on an Indian burial ground, and they were cursed for that, and it will always rain on their fair. Rain on their parade.
Many years back when I was the assessor,
Mm-hmm.
Jim Brolte and I was over at the Orange Show grounds, and we had some little doings going on there, and I remember way back in that day, and that I enjoyed it as a kid. I enjoyed the Orange Show. My friend, his dad was I shouldn't probably say this, but a police officer, and he worked it actually, and he got free tickets, legitimately.
Today's
And
the
he
free
gave us
day
some.
too. Today's the free day.
Today's
You can
free
go.
day?
Yeah, Wednesday today. Today's Wednesday, right? No, today's Thursday. Oh, wait a minute. It's not the free day today. But it's like $4 to get in anyway. It's not a big deal. Pretty cheap entertainment these days. The National Orange Show, they've got all kinds of fun stuff. Can you give me a minute to talk about it before you talk about what you're going to talk about?
Go ahead.
I love this. The All Alaskan Racing Pigs.
All Alaskan racing pigs.
Some cold bacon, huh? No. All Alaskan Racing
He suckered
Pigs.
me in that one.
Yep, that's right. They have a live shark encounter, which is pretty cool. It'll be here today, and today's the last day. They have the Birdman Show, which is a really neat show. I've seen that before. and very entertaining bird wrangler. They have a sea lion encounter and a stingray encounter, which is kind of cool. And then they have the Flying Royals.
The Flying Royal.
It's an acrobatic stunt team. Kind of cool. Trapeze artists and things like that. They do all kinds of stuff. It's called the Flying Royals. And it's at the National Orange Show going on right now. And through the 20th, by the way, through Easter Sunday. So it gives you something, you know, after you're done with your religious services or whatever you do on Easter Sunday or your meal or whatever you do or Easter egg hunt, you can go over to the National Orange Show, which is right down there on Mill and E. You know, it's the place where they normally just have raves. The National Rave Show, where they, you know, those raves are just incredible. They're so big. But yeah, people from all over the nation and in California, if you say the National Orange Show, they will know where that is because of those raves. So hopefully some of those people are coming back to the National Orange Show this weekend. Back in the day, you've been in this area for a long time, right, Don?
Since I was 10 years old.
Back in the day, they used to have orange stands on E Street.
Oh, yeah.
Several of them, and there were nothing but ticket booths where you go buy tickets to the Orange Show because it was so in popular that people would have to wait in a long time. So you could buy your show tickets, buy them pre-sale by going to these little orange stands. It was cool. And then they had a parade, an opening parade, I think a closing parade. It was kind of fun. I was in the San Bernardino High School marching band, so I used to march in that. And it was a big parade, big deal right down
Did you play
East
an instrument too?
No, I just marched.
Oh, okay.
No, of course I played an instrument. I was in the band. Guess what I played?
You played the drums.
No, but that's a nice choice. I was a drum major one year. I was the drum major one year. No, I played the saxophone. All manner of saxophone. Alto, sax, tenor sax, and I really grumbled when I had to play the bari sax one couple, 2, 3 parades. It was like, oh, well, our tubas are all sick, so we need you to play the bari sax, Mark. I'm like, oh, that was so heavy.
Being a veteran, I liked the trumpet.
And then when I was at San Bernardino High School, as a fundraiser, our band used to go down probably 3 or 4 or 5 nights a week and march through the National Orange Show a couple of times. So we'd all have to go down there with our parade uniforms and everything and, you know, assemble in the back at the racing stadium, and then we'd assemble and we march out into the Orange Show, march around the grounds, play music, and then march back in. And then we'd come back another hour and do that. And it was kind of funny. Our band director had a golf cart. Dr. Leonard Anderson, bless his heart. Well, you know, he had to do something to pass the time. And, of course, there was a bar. He'd never get away with this nowadays. Anyway, how this world has gotten so stiff and ridiculous. And he'd have a few snorts, get a little fun, get a little loose. He'd be riding that cart around the band and down the Orange Show grounds, having a good time, joking around and having fun. And sometimes he'd ride the cart right through the band, and we'd have to separate. You know? It was fun. Nobody got hurt. It was fun. And, of course, he was careful, too. And he wasn't really drunk. He was just, you could tell he was a little bit lit. But yeah, it was a fun time. And it was fun times when people weren't, back when the world wasn't so serious, Don. You know what I mean?
Like you said, it wouldn't probably be allowed now.
No. He would have been fired, but there's other reasons he might have been fired too. But long story made short, he was a great educator. He still is a great educator. He's retired. I think he lives in Wisconsin or someplace like that. But, you know, he really did a good job with our bands. He was very hardworking. He was a mentor. He was a teacher. We learned a lot of skills from Leonard Anderson. Organization is one. He was a very organized man. And you know what? It worked out. And I got some of my organizational skills from Dr. Leonard Anderson with the San Bernardino High School Cardinal Big Red Machine. Hoorah! Anyway, I'm going to now learn one skill, and that's to be quiet. And hand the microphone over to Don because he wants to talk about something.
Well, I'm looking here at this pamphlet here from the Union, 1932, which is my old union. And because I was in the public employees, it was the joints. And anyway, and I'm looking at this, and it says members engaged in different things and benefiting the community and promoting, of course, the unionism. And everywhere I worked in my whole life, if they had a union, I was in it. I really supported the union. In fact, when I was county assessor, I'm probably the only county assessor ever in the whole state of California that was in the union.
And they have some scholarships. You want to talk about that real quick because we're running out of time.
Yes, they. I've got this thing. There's one thing you're going to have to tell me because it says don't miss out on free money, and I don't know if they'll be able to see this on YouTube or not. That's
The QR code, yeah.
And anyway, says apply for Teamster scholarships. Now, Kiwanis, which you know we're a member of, also has scholarships. A lot of the clubs do, and including the one in Rialto that I'm in, and then San Bernardino has them. Anyway, so it says apply for Teamster scholarships today. They have this QR right here to scan, which don't do much good, but don't have an address too. You ought to have an address, I assume.
You know, you can find all this information out at teamsters1932.org or teamsters1932.com, and it'll have it on there. And then,
Yes.
/training or something like that. The Teamsters Union, you know what Don does, folks? I'm gonna just write him out here. We have a lobby we share with the radio station and the Teamsters Union Hall, and there's this big rack with all kinds of stuff in it, and it gets changed. You know, they have numerous workers here and things like that, and stuff and flyers get put into that
In
thing.
Union Hall.
Union Hall, and then he walks through and grabs the flyers out of
That's
that
what
thing.
these came from.
That's exactly where they came from. And then on the air, he puts me on the spot to know what is on that flyer, and I've never seen it before. But you know what? Good for you. Scholarships. There's a QR code you can scan for the scholarships because they know most young people have that. You can come down here, 433 North Sierra Way, into the lobby, and you can get those flyers yourself. And, they have members engaged and get involved. Teamsters making a difference.
Yeah, big difference.
Schools, coaches, strike lines, community events, radio shows. That's us. And teaching committee and so much, much more. So, better living with unions. That's all I can say. I can say a lot more, but we're running out of time, Don. We were speaking also earlier with Jacqui Dobens from a thing called The Amazing Shake, teaching young students how to role play and how to model themselves and learn how to dress and conduct themselves with dignity, grace, and respect, and then also, act extemporaneously. I can say that word again one more time, extemporaneously.
Extemporaneously.
Extemporaneously. There you go. And it teaches them big words like that. That is a $5 word if there ever was one.
I would hate to spell it.
Yeah, that's right. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we've come to the end of our show. Before we leave, I want to wish, Don, you a very happy and holy holiday season.
And happy Easter to you and yours. And
may the Easter Bunny bring... Did you take that Easter Bunny home from the Kiwanis thing last night?
no,
That
I
big
didn't.
one?
I would have
Oh.
liked to. I may have one. I have one. I haven't taken out of the box. It's 4 foot tall. Was that 4 foot tall?
That was 4 foot tall, yeah.
So I may have that at home.
That's about another foot taller than you. No, just kidding.
No, I'm a shorty.
KCAA 1050 AM 106.5 FM. I'm Mark Westwood, along with...
Don Williamson.
And the Donald Williamson Tax Saver and More show right here on KCAA 1050, 106.5 with Eric Casario in the booth. Thank you, Eric. We're over and out. Happy Easter.
Till that time, happy Easter.